Thank you, everyone, for joining today's webcast. Our topic today is how to build your government agency's brand and attract top talent. My name is Becca Feldman, and I'm the Global Marketing and Education Program Manager for our Talent Brand Solutions team here at LinkedIn. A couple of quick logistics things before we dive into today's topic. One, everyone on the line will be on mute during this webcast, but if you have any questions, feel free to enter them in the chat box or the Q&A. We'll be monitoring them and then leaving time at the end to answer your questions. So please feel free to enter those throughout as you think of them, or save them for the end, whatever is easier. We will be recording this presentation, so everyone who attended as well as everyone who registered will receive a link to the recording as well as a link to the presentation within a few days after the event. You'll get an email with that. Feel free to share that with friends and colleagues if you have anyone else who's interested in today's session. And for those of you that have a minute at the end, we do have a survey that pops up in SurveyMonkey after today's webcast. We would greatly appreciate if you had the time, it only takes a minute or two, to fill out and give us your feedback. We use that to make sure that we can continue to provide value and improve these webcasts regularly for you. So again, really appreciate it if you have the time to take that. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Lisa Shaw, who will introduce herself and take us through today's topic.
Great, thanks, Becca. My name is Lisa Shaw, and I am a federal talent brand consultant at LinkedIn. I'm excited to cover 3 to 4 topics today, really around building your brand and making sure that you're leveraging your brand to attract top talent. Today we'll cover some information on the LinkedIn network and the ecosystem. We'll talk a little bit about maximizing your government agency's overall brand on LinkedIn, how to optimize your company and career stage, and then also how to really showcase your organization's culture and values so that talent really has a good understanding of what it's like to work at your organization and really share that secret sauce of your specific agency. So thank you very much for joining, and as Becca said, if you have questions along the way, definitely use the chat window. We want to definitely make sure that we're answering any questions that you guys have, and we hope this is informative. So as we get started, I think it's really helpful to walk through the LinkedIn ecosystem and our membership. We do have over 450 million members on the network today, and we're growing at 2 new members per second. A couple of things I wanted to highlight here is we have over 100 million members in the United States, and a couple talent pools that often come up in the federal space are how many students and recent graduates do you have? And I listed here that we have over 40 million students and recent graduates, and that's our fastest growing population on the site, so that's definitely that younger audience is leveraging and using LinkedIn more and more. We also have over 2 million veterans on the site as well, leveraging the network. So it is a global pool of talent, but also within some of the key areas that our clients talk about, we'll delve a little bit deeper. But just wanted to make sure everybody knew kind of the scope and scale of the network on our site. And I think it's also helpful to understand why professionals actually use LinkedIn and why do they come to the site and what are they taking advantage of and getting out of it. So professionals come to LinkedIn to really develop their careers. It's not just to find job opportunities. They are managing their professional identity, so keeping their profile up to date on the different projects and roles that they have done throughout their professional career. They're networking with each other, so former colleagues, people they went to school with, people that they'd like to connect with down the road. They're making sure to keep those connections live and warm. And then last but not least, they are also using LinkedIn to gain knowledge. So there are several hundreds and thousands of articles that pop up on LinkedIn related to different topics, and so definitely this has become a key publishing platform where both members and organizations are publishing knowledge and information, and so our members really do see value in that. So again, really these LinkedIn members are on the site to build their identity, to network, and to gain knowledge. And we work very closely with our federal clients to make sure that you're really standing at the top when LinkedIn members are here trying to explore new opportunities. A couple of talent pools that keep coming up when I work with federal clients, and I thought this would be helpful to highlight. I just wanted to share with you that we have, a variety of professionals, and these are the ones that keep coming up in conversation. So I won't go through each of these, and these slides will be sent to you after the session. But we do have, healthcare professionals, IT and engineering professionals, students, recent grads, diversity groups. Really the idea here is, we have the right people on the network. The question is, how do you actually showcase your brand, your organization's culture, your values, your opportunities in a way that's going to really resonate with these different audiences? And again, this is just a subset of audiences that keep popping up as, hey, Lisa, do you have these folks on LinkedIn? What are they doing? Are they engaging with information, content, jobs? And so I just wanted to kind of set the stage to say we definitely have these people, and I'm here to make sure that our clients are able to actually, again, showcase your brand in a light that these folks get more interested in your opportunities. So before we actually go directly into some of the slides around maximizing and optimizing your brand, I think it's helpful to take a step back and talk a little bit about the talent acquisition space and trends that we're seeing. Right now, we're at a 14-year high for job openings in the U.S. So in terms of opportunities and jobs out there, there's tons of opportunities for candidates to take advantage of. It's definitely a very competitive marketplace. And we are also, just based on research, and we have the different organizations we got this research from listed, 80% of companies are saying that there's a skills shortage. And so again, really, organizations are struggling to gain exactly the right talent that they're looking for. So again, it is very competitive to get the best and top folks in the door. The other interesting thing to note is that 2 in 5 employees say they'll switch jobs within the next 2 years. And so, there has been a transition where employees would stay at an organization for 15, 20, 50 years. We are seeing an ecosystem in a place where people are changing jobs more often. And I think in this type of ecosystem, employees and even potential candidates do a lot more research before joining an organization. And so that's really the important piece here, is how do we make sure we showcase your agency in a way that as people are doing research and curious and start to explore new opportunities, how do you really stand out? Perfect. So as I said, it's a competitive ecosystem, it's a competitive space to hire the right talent. What I think is really interesting based on a talent trend survey we did is that 90% of global professionals are interested in hearing about new job opportunities, but the biggest roadblock they face when actually looking for opportunities is, number one, not knowing what it's really like to work at a company or organization, and 2, not understanding what's expected of the role. And so here, I think that's really, I was very surprised by this, that folks out there are definitely interested, but they're struggling to get the information they need. And, again, this is where we want to make sure that you're sharing at your agency, what is the brand like? What is it like to be a day in the life of a healthcare professional at your organization, or an IT professional, or a recent grad? And so this is the key here. If we can help organizations and clients unlock really making sure you're educating the talent pools with what it's like to work at your company, what's expected of the role, that will make a really big difference in terms of getting the candidates through the door. So now that we've done some information on talent pools, talent acquisition trends, also what the biggest roadblocks out there are in terms of gaining talent, we want to go deeper into how can your agency actually nurture and educate candidates about what it's like to work at your organization. And I'm all for making it really simple. We want you to be able to walk away with some easy steps that are tactical after the call, and where you can go on LinkedIn and make some changes to your strategy. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is posting updates on your LinkedIn company page. And then the second part of the session, we'll talk about showcasing what it's actually like to work at your organization. And you can do that via what we call a LinkedIn careers page. So let's get started with the updates and how to actually post them on the company page. And who do these updates go out to? What are some best practices in terms of posting updates? So on LinkedIn, every organization has what we call a company page. This is free. It's something that exists to really just at a high level showcase what your organization is all about and give some basic information on, you know, a description, maybe a logo, as well as some type of banner image, and post content in what we call the status update box. So you can see there right at the top, it does say share an update. This update, which could be news, could be articles, could be, you know, hey, we have these great job opportunities. It could be a variety of different pieces. These updates that you post on LinkedIn will be pushed out to your followers, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But kind of at a really high level, I want to make sure that everybody on the call after this goes to their company page, and if you are an administrator of your page, you should see this little box that says share an update. If you're not an administrator, I have listed at the bottom of this slide where to go to find out who your administrator is and if you want to be added, how to do that. So really high level, make sure you go to the page after the call. And once these updates are posted on LinkedIn, I often get asked, where do they go? These updates that you post are pushed out into the LinkedIn newsfeed, and our newsfeed is both on desktop and mobile. Over 50% of our traffic is now via mobile, so it's really important that any content or updates or stories that you're posting on LinkedIn, we're making sure that they're both available from a desktop perspective, but also from a mobile perspective, because that's where people are spending a lot of their time. And so LinkedIn members scroll through their newsfeed, and they're gaining access and information about what their network's doing, but also any information that companies or organizations they follow, they're also seeing that content in their newsfeed as well. And when you post an update on LinkedIn, I think it's important to note where those updates go and also who they're hitting. So today, any updates that you post on the site are actually pushed out to your LinkedIn follower base. These are people that have actively raised their hand on the LinkedIn network. They've hit that follow button. And the great news about these followers is that they're a warm pipeline of talent. We do know that followers are 3 times more likely to apply for a job than a non-follower, because again, they're warm, they've seeked you out. 70% of followers are interested in learning more about job opportunities, so that's one of the key reasons they follow your organization. And they're 78% more likely to accept an email from a recruiter. And so the key here is, you know, definitely taking advantage of those status updates. A lot of federal clients I work for haven't posted anything, or they're really early stages in terms of posting updates on a regular basis. I would say even if you could post an update once a week or once, you know, every week and a half or so, just to get started, I think it's a great way to nurture this follower base that you guys have probably gotten organically or also through some paid efforts. Perfect. So now that we've talked a little bit about followers and posting updates, one feature that I wanted to mention that's pretty neat that we offer to our clients is the ability to post an update to your followers, but to take it one step further and post it to a subset of your follower base. So for example, let's say you have a great article about an engineer at your organization. Someone's doing great things, and let's say they won an award, and you want to showcase that in front of engineering followers that you guys have. Not all followers, but again, a subset of your followers. There is the option to go into our system and post what we call a targeted status update. Again, there's no investment here. It's really, we want to make sure our members are getting the most relevant content, and you have the ability to target those updates by function, by geography. You can see some of the different functionality here, industry, or let's say you're doing an event in a specific geography and you want to showcase that on your page. You could say, let's push this update out in front of people in a particular geographical region. So it's a great way, again, to give out and push out content to your followers that takes it one step further and is even more relevant to them. Okay, and I always find it helpful to share some strong examples of updates. So I know I've talked about, you know, posting them, but what are people posting that's resonating with the LinkedIn membership? So here's some 4 great examples with some of the federal agencies on LinkedIn. USPTO, did a quote from one of their employees and said, this is why people love to work here and make a difference. Click here to learn more about our job opportunities. So really simple, and again, really visualizing, what is it, who are the types of people that work at this organization and why are they passionate about working there. NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, I love this one, highlighting a female mechatronics engineer, and again, her actual career path. This is a great article just to showcase and say, hey, this is a story of an employee and the journey she took to get to where she is today. The Secret Service, you can see that they're literally just posting a job announcement and pushing it out, saying, we do have this uniformed officer role open, come join our team. And then the last one from the U.S. Army, these are some skill sets we look for on a team: problem solving, camaraderie, and sharing an article. So again, you don't really have to kind of reinvent the wheel, looking for content on your website, on your blogs, on other social media channels, or even posting a job opportunity and getting it pushed out. All of these are really great ways to start to nurture that follower base and get them, excited, and they've reached out to you, they want to hear from you, and so this is a great opportunity to start reaching out to them with content and information. Okay. And one thing to note, I often get asked by clients, is there a way to not only hit our followers, but also start to reach outside our follower base with this content? So I did want to let you know that there are features where you could say, I'd like to push this update out in front of, for example, different diversity groups, or I want to push this update out in front of healthcare professionals in this region. There are features, again, that requires an investment, but there are opportunities to get your content out, and if you have questions about that, you can let me know in the survey. Great. So as we talk about content, I think these are really 5 tips to keep in mind. Always take a step back and say, is this something you would read or share? What type of value are you giving to the member by posting it, right? So I think that's really the key here. You don't want to post an update just for the sake of it, but you want to post an update that you know that people out there that are curious about you will be interested in reading. So some quick tips: be conversational, keep it short. Ideally, we see, under 120 characters is best in terms of an update. Be visual, so always include some type of image. Worst case, your logo, but best case, some type of visual image of a person or things like that really help. Offer snackable tips, and always include a call to action, because you want to make sure that, whether it's read this article or click here, you're making it really clear what the member should be doing. And these are just some quick tips. Always including a link in your update increases engagement on the content. I already mentioned that updates with images get better success, and so they get 2 times as many comments. And updates with videos get a little over 1.5 times more shares. So again, it's all about kind of interesting, engaging content and information. And you don't want to reinvent the wheel. Use images from your website, from other channels. That's really the key here to make it simple and effective for you. Okay. And I think it's really important to say, what is the overall impact of posting content on LinkedIn? We've given you some best practices. This is the type of content. Here are some examples. But what does that actually do in terms of a long-term effect on your hiring? And so one thing I wanted to point out is that companies or organizations who are posting at least 1 status update a week on LinkedIn are seeing 40% more views to their LinkedIn postings. So again, pushing content out, although it might not feel like you're directly saying apply for this job, by pushing pieces out, you're building that brand awareness. You're really optimizing and letting people know that you're out there. You have great information to share, and as a result, they're going to be curious about your agency. They're going to say, okay, this agency posted a really interesting article. Who are they? And as a result, we see more and more people, once they see your brand, starting to be curious about your opportunity. So we're seeing that 40% more views are coming in for organizations that are posting more content on the site. And then also an increase, so 25% more apply clicks when you post one status update per week. So just keep that in mind. You know, easy to get started. Start with your website again or other channels, and kind of get into that cadence of posting. And I know that some organizations, you know, go through some challenges in trying to figure out, you know, whose responsibility is this? Is it public affairs? Is it marketing? Is it talent acquisition? And I think, you know, really it just requires coming to the table and having that conversation. And LinkedIn is very flexible in that you can have as many administrators as you need to have access to the page. So, you know, I would say have a conversation, look at some other competitors out there, other agencies, and how they're leveraging LinkedIn just to get some content ideas. And it should be a mix of not only hiring pieces or talent brand or employer brand pieces, but also just pieces about your agency in general and your mission and the great work you're doing. So just to give you that update as well. Okay. So now that we've drilled into LinkedIn status updates and posting content, the second part of the webcast, I really want to showcase and explain how you can visually showcase what it's like to work at your organization. How can you give candidates a sense that they could envision themselves at your agency? And again, this is so important because the biggest roadblock today when candidates face when looking or changing a job is not knowing what it's like to work at your company and not understanding what's expected of the role. So how can you make it simple for them at their fingertips to have this information so they're not spending time looking for it and going to a competitor, and just making sure that they really have a good sense of what they're getting into. And I think what's important here is really understanding the audiences you're going after and how you want to showcase your brand to them. So we do a lot of research about what different types of professionals care about when looking at a job opportunity. So what's interesting is in all our research, we do see, and let me see if this animation is going to work here. 1 second. For some reason it's not picking up. But we do see that excellent compensation and benefits is always the top. That one and good work-life balance is what most professionals are looking for in their next job. So those are always pretty steady. But the next 3 to 4 things that people look for in a job are a bit different. So engineers are looking for challenging work, job security, the ability to make an impact, and a culture that fits their personality, okay? Whereas a 18 to 24-year-old, again, we see work-life balance and compensation benefits at the top, but they're looking for a culture that fits, ability to make an impact, a strong career path, and a place I would be proud to work at. So when we're thinking about content and information you're posting out there, it's helpful to keep in mind what the different audiences you recruit for or the different talent pools you guys care about to make sure you're speaking in a way that would resonate with them. Here's another example, healthcare professionals, what do they look for in a job? Same 2 at the top of the list, but the next 4, ability to make an impact, job security, culture is back on the list, and then values employee contributions. And so we do have this information out there and can be shared with you in terms of what professionals actually look for. And I think this is so important because we've really come into a world where it's all about personalization, right? We live in a world where everything is always personalized to our preferences and what we want to see. Here's just some examples. So, Amazon, Netflix, when we're on our website, it's surfacing articles of things that we think that we would care about just based on, metrics and analyzation of, what we're engaging with. And so it's interesting to see that we're always in a place where at our fingertips, the messaging that we're sent is personalized, and so it shouldn't be any different when we're thinking about hiring. You want to make it simple for the member to start to understand who your agency is, but not only that, what is it like to work at your agency in different roles, IT, healthcare, internships, so on and so forth, and make it simple for them to relate. So here, I wanted to visually show this to you and really give you a good sense of how you start to build that brand in a way that is really segmented to different audiences. And we know that candidates feel more connected to your organization when their experience is personalized. So here you can see on LinkedIn when a candidate comes to our careers page, so let's say they've been surfaced a job or they've gotten a message from a recruiter, or they have a friend that works at LinkedIn, the first thing they're going to do is say, you know, what is LinkedIn and why would I consider working there? When they land on our careers page on the site, you can see if they're an engineer, they see information in pieces that are different than when a student lands on our page. So the idea here, again, is it is all about personalization. You can see in the engineering view the banner at the top there of folks working at their computers. We are highlighting, it says, meet our LinkedIn engineering leaders. The video and the content is all around engineers and what they care about. Whereas on the student-specific view, the banner says transform, and so someone early on in their career that might be really important word that they care about. You know, we're highlighting younger professionals. Some of the modules at the bottom next to the images say, you know, the LinkedIn internship program. So again, we're taking it one step further and making sure that, you know, it's not a one-size-fits-all experience. We want to make sure that candidates feel connected, and this is the way that we've seen most success on the network. Great. So I think it's also helpful to look at some best-in-class careers pages in the federal space that have taken their overall brand and made sure to showcase it in a way that makes sense from a talent brand or employer brand perspective. And so here's some examples. The National Security Agency, you know, their banner says extraordinary work, which it is, and some video and information about, again, what it's like to work at the organization. Air Force civilian, same thing, you know, make a meaningful contribution. And so the idea here is that I think federal agencies and even nonprofit agencies, for example, have really strong missions and do such fantastic work that makes an impact. And so I think that's the secret sauce. How do you get that out there and in a way that talent will understand and start to really feel connected? And so I think these organizations are doing a really good job. And a lot of clients haven't, you know, it might look like a lot of work, but ultimately a lot of this content already exists. So videos or, you know, your tagline, things like that might already exist on your website. And so I just wanted to point out that it's not something that our clients have felt is a super heavy lift on their side. And in terms of the longer-term impact it makes on their hiring, they're really excited that now candidates have a place in a really easy way to be able to relate to their organization. And here's another example. So AmeriCorps and the Department of State, again, really showcasing visually, you know, what their organizations are not about just from an overall brand perspective, but specifically from a talent brand perspective. Because often your overall brand, you know, will differ from actually your employer brand. One is, you know, who you are as an organization. The second piece is who are you and what is it like to actually work at your organization, and they're really doing a good job of taking it to the next level and showcasing that work component. Great. And again, these slides will be available so you can kind of take a peek at some examples, get some ideas, and start brainstorming. But ultimately, you know, really today I wanted to make sure that in terms of takeaways, everybody starts, you know, first go to your company page, take a look at it, does it exist? Start looking at, you know, is there an opportunity to post updates on a more regular basis? Ideally, you know, at least once a week is great, but again, if it seems overwhelming, even just to get started, you know, just post something, get out there, because you will see that you have followers who are eager to hear from you. And then the second part is to really showcase what it's like to work at your organization, because as we've seen through the research, the number one roadblock is not knowing what it's like to be or work at that organization. And so making it really simple for a candidate to get that information is key here. And so we want to make sure agencies have a leg up in getting their mission and values and their value proposition out there to potential employees. Great. So that is it for the webcast today. I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining. I hope this gave you some ideas and some tactical things you can get started with. Upon exiting the webcast, we do have a survey, so it would be fantastic to get your feedback on this presentation as well as other topics you guys would be interested in learning about. I love working with the federal agencies and clients. I think it's a really inspiring audience. I think there are a lot of great pieces of content and information about your specific organizations, and I always enjoy helping you showcase that. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll open it up to questions.
Great. Thanks, Lisa. As a reminder, everyone, you are on mute, so if you have questions, please enter them in the chat box or the Q&A box, and we will try and get to everything. So for the first question, Lisa, someone wants to know, what is a good engagement rate for status updates?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So a strong engagement rate for status updates is anything over 1% is very strong. So that's something I would strive for, and I think the updates that kind of hit that 1% mark are visual, have really good, some type of visual image, and B, are from a relevancy perspective are really relevant to the audience they're posting. Those are the ones that do the best.
Great. Next question is around the career page. Is there an additional investment required to be able to personalize our career page?
Yes, there is, and I would say if you have questions about that or would like to talk about it further and see if it makes sense for your organization, in the survey just include your name and we can definitely share information on that.
Great. Next question, you showed the information around what different types of talent pools value in terms of their career. How can somebody get that information about a particular talent pool?
Yeah, so again, it would be great if you could fill out the survey and include your name and what you're looking for, and then we will get back to you, either myself or someone from our federal team. And if you could include what specific talent pools you care about to have that information for us, that would be great as well.
Great. Someone wants to know, I know we didn't really talk about it much on today's call, but someone was hoping you could speak a little bit about the investment option of job slots.
Okay, yeah, so job slots on LinkedIn, and let me just go back to one of the pages here. So on the right side here of each of these careers pages, you can see different job opportunities being posted. So ultimately, job slots are the opportunity to post a position on the network and have that surfaced throughout the newsfeed as well as the careers page, and really make sure the neat thing about it is it automatically targets the right people based on the job information you have posted, like your title and location. In terms of the ins and outs of it, and I hate to keep saying this, but definitely add that to your survey as something you want to learn more about, and we can make sure that we get back to you. Because again, I think each organization is a little bit different in their needs, and we want to make sure we're recommending something that makes sense. So fill that out, and we'd love to share information on it.
Thanks. Someone wants to know, what do you recommend I do if I have a difficult approval process to go through to post content? How can I manage through that and still be able to post good updates?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say, I hear this very, very often from our federal clients. So a couple things I would do is start with your website. So in terms of content, whether it's blog posts or press releases or stories that already exist there, that's already pre-approved. So I've seen a lot of success with agencies going to their public affairs group and saying, hey, this already exists, and I think it makes sense to post it on this channel. We have followers, we have people who want to learn more, and it's a missed opportunity for us not to be posting. The second part is going to other channels like Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. Some agencies already are spending some time posting there, and so how can you repurpose those materials for LinkedIn? And then the third thing is we do have some great playbooks around, coordination with marketing and public affairs and talent acquisition together and best practices and how to coordinate. It really comes down to creating a content calendar where you say, these are the different posts we'd love to have, and really coming together with a comprehensive, holistic plan. So In your survey, if you could make a note of your name, and we can always share that playbook of how to coordinate with marketing. Again, it's definitely always a work in progress, but I think it comes down to really showcasing to your organization what the value and benefit is of posting, and what type of, what type of engagement you're going to get, and what the missed opportunity is of not posting, and also taking a look at some of your competitors out there and what they're doing and sharing that as well.
Great. Thank you. Also, someone wants to know, and I know you touched on this briefly, but if you could reiterate, how do you become a company page admin if you're not already one?
Yeah, so the best thing to do, and I'll pop over to that slide real quick. At the bottom of this slide, I've listed the Help Center link. And again, these slides will be sent to you. So you can go ahead and email or submit a request to the Help Center, and they can get you set up, or also, inform you of kind of what that process looks like and who else is already an admin on the page.
Great. That is all the questions that we've gotten so far. Lisa and I will stay on for another minute or two, so if anybody does have remaining questions, feel free to enter them in the Q&A box or chat box now, and we'll wait just a minute before we end today's webcast.
Fantastic.
Also, while we're waiting to see if anyone has any other questions, just a call out, we do have another federal webcast coming up on September 20th. If you're interested in joining, the topic is nurturing talent pools through content on LinkedIn. So you'll get a more advanced version of some of the content that you saw today. So this was meant to be more of an introduction to posting updates on LinkedIn, building your brand on the site, and the next webcast on September 20th will be focused on more of an advanced level of posting updates and content marketing on LinkedIn for your agency. So definitely recommend you join that if you're interested in learning more. And with that, it looks like we don't have any more questions. So again, thank you to everyone who joined us today. We appreciate you taking the time, and we are hopeful that you found this webcast valuable. And again, we hope to see you on a future webcast soon. So with that, have a great afternoon, and thank you to Lisa.
Great. Thank you all. Have a great day.